Hello, my name is Keshwani. This K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 545. Please turn to it, page 545. Today is our lesson number 42. Problem number 6. In problem number 6, they are testing a concept, something that we have already learned, something that we came across in one of the earlier problems. I'm going to make a note here. I want you to compare this problem. With number 14 on page 485, something that we learned on day number 29. Now listen very carefully, please. If you have not watched day number 29, or if you have forgotten what it was, turn to that page, look at the problem, and if you do not know how to solve that question on page number 485, number 14, then watch that video first, day number 29, because there are a lot of things I explained in that video which I'm not going to redo again. Redo again is redundant actually, which I'm not going to redo, which I'm not going to do it again, because if I were to do that, it will take too much time. Do you understand? If every single time we came across the same concept that we have learned before and I keep repeating the same damn thing, it will get to be too tedious. Make sure you watch day number 29 first, understand question number 14, understand the concept behind it before you continue watching this video. The concept that they're testing here is the fact that the opposite sides and angles in a triangle are proportional. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. All that means is that opposite sides and angles are proportional. All that means is that the largest side in a triangle always faces the largest angle, and the smallest side in the triangle always faces the smallest angle. Which is why in a right angle triangle, the largest side is the side that faces 90 degrees. Hypotenuse is always the largest side in a right angle triangle because it faces 90 degrees, which is the largest angle. Do you understand? In a right angle triangle. Here, this is what we are told. Let's see what we are told here. We are told that this side is 10. Let's give them name here. Let's call them ABC. AB is the largest side. The largest side is AB. Therefore, it will face the biggest angle. And the biggest angle here is this angle right here. AB faces angle X. Therefore, X is the largest. X is the largest angle. X is the largest angle because AB is the largest side in the triangle, because therefore it will face the largest angle, angle X. Similarly, the smallest side, which is 8, from here to here, which is 8, the smallest side, BC, will face the smallest angle. BC faces BC, this side B to C faces this angle right here, which we are told is angle T. Therefore, T is the smallest angle. That's it, we're done. T is the smallest angle, X is the largest angle, which means the correct answer, whatever it is, must have R in the middle, because R is the medium size. Let's see what we can do here. A, B, C, D, and E. It must have R in the middle. A has R in the middle. B has X in the middle. That's not good. C has T in the middle. That's not good. D has T in the middle. That's not good. And E has R in the middle. So it's either A or E. Now let's compare. Before we look at the answer choices, let's keep in mind that the answers are going to be arranged either in the ascending order or descending order. They're going to give you the angles either from the largest angle to the smallest angle, or vice versa. Let's see what they tell us here. Here they are all arranged in a descending order. They go from the smallest to the medium to the largest. They tell us T is smaller than R, which in fact is smaller than X. In other words, X is the largest one. And there's your answer choice A. That's our answer choice A. That's it, we're done with this one. Let's go to the next one. Number 7. We're done with this one. In question number 7, again they deal with the concept that we have already come across, that we have already learned, and I want you to watch this video. Compare this video with number 15 on page number 418, day number 9. And if you have not watched that video first, watch that video first, day number 9, before we continue watching this thing. Again, the concept that they are testing in this problem number 7, before I put it on the blackboard, is this concept. If somebody were to tell us that the absolute value of x is more than 5, if somebody were to tell us that absolute value of x is more than 5, what do you gather from that? What do you surmise from that? What do you infer from that? What we gather from this is the fact that if absolute value of x is more than 5, then there are two possibilities. Either x is more than 5, obviously, that's very simple to see, everybody sees that. For example, x could be equal to 7, in which case the absolute value of x, of course, is more than 5. Or x could very well be less than -5. You see how this direction switches? X is more than 5, or x is less than 5. It changes the directions when we're pointing to the negative side of the range. That is also possible. For example, for all we know, x could very well be -7, or -70 for that matter, or -70 million for that matter. If x happens to be -70 million, then if you were to take the absolute value of x, absolute value of -70 million, of course it's going to be, the absolute value of -70 million is going to be more than 5. Do you understand? So we cannot tell. There are two possibilities. It's either less than -5 or more than +5 when we are given something like this. Exact same thing is going on here. Make sure you watch that video so that you have some more understanding of the concept. Here we are told that absolute value of 6 minus 5y is more than 20. Think of this 6 minus 5y as your x, which means x is either more than 20 or x is less than -20. That's all. So here, either 6 minus 5y is more than 20, or I should say either 6 minus 5y is more than 20, or 6 minus 5y is less than -20. These are the two possibilities. And our job is to analyze both of these situations to come up with the answer that works here, because we are given 5 answer choices and the question simply says which of the following is a possible value of y. So let's do this, shall we? Subtract 6 from both sides. This is a positive 6. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. 6 drops out, and -5 is less than -26. Let's divide both sides by -5. Again, I keep reminding you, you must watch this thing so that you understand what's going on, because if I were to keep explaining the same concept over and over and over again, it will get damn tedious for both of us. It will bore the pants off you. Do you understand? I don't want to do that. So let's divide both sides by -5, and what we find is that when we are solving an inequality, what we learn on day number 9, what we learn is that when we are solving an inequality, the rules that apply to solving an equality are the exact same rule that apply to solving an inequality. There is no difference. You can do everything that you could when you're solving an equality. You can do that when you're solving an inequality, except one rule, which is if you were to multiply or divide two sides of the inequality by a negative number, the direction of the inequality has to be switched. For example, we know 10 is more than 8. Obviously 10 is more than 8. Nobody's going to argue with you. But if you were to multiply both sides by 2, would you still agree that 20 is more than 16? Of course 20 is more than 16. But what if you were to multiply both sides by negative 2? If you want to multiply both sides by negative 2, now we have negative 20, and negative 20 is no longer greater than negative 16. Negative 20 is in fact less than negative 16. You see how the direction switched? Similarly, we know that 10 is more than 8. Of course 10 is more than 8. What if you were to divide both sides by 2? Would you still agree that 10 divided by 2 is more than 8 divided by 2? Of course! But what if you were to divide by negative 2? Now, negative 5 is no longer greater than negative 5 is in fact less than negative 4. This is no longer true. The direction of the inequality has to be switched. Which is what we're going to do here. We're going to divide both sides by negative 5. I shouldn't have done that here because now we have to switch the directions. Because I already did it, I have to switch the directions immediately. Immediately change the directions, otherwise you will mess it up. So negative 5 drops out and y is greater than 26 over 5. Y is greater than 26 over 5, which is same as saying that y is greater than 5 and 1/5. Y has to be greater than 5 and 1/5. Let's see if we can find any answer choice which is more than 5 and 1/5 in the answers that they give you. The answers that they give us go all the way from negative 3 to a positive 5. There is nothing in there that is more than 5 and 1/5. What does it tell you? It tells you that this was a dead end. This was a dead end. But of course we would not have known that it's a dead end until we actually do the work. It was a dead end. The answer is not buried. The treasure does not lie there. The treasure must lie here. The reason I started out with this side is because my instinct, my gut feeling told me that the answer probably is here, because most people do not think about this scenario. Most people, when they say 6 minus 5y is more than 20, they just immediately say to themselves that 6 minus 5y is more than positive 20. They do not realize that it could also be less than negative 20. So I thought the answer was here, but it's not here. Let's do that here. This is a positive 6, subtract 6 from both sides. 6 drops out and negative 5y is greater than 14. Let's divide both sides by negative 5 again. If we divide both sides by negative 5, the direction switches. This negative 5 will drop out with that negative 5, and now we know that y is less than negative 14 over 5. Y is less than negative 14 over 5. We know that negative 15 over 5 is negative 3. Which means as long as it's less than negative 14 over 5, we are fine. Which means if x happens to be negative 3 will be just fine, because negative 15 over 5 is less than negative 14 over 5. Do we have a negative 3 in the answer choice? Well, there you go. Answer is A. Answer is A. Because answer choice A says that y is less than negative 3, which is fine, because the only condition we have to meet is that it has to be less than negative 14 over 5. Negative 3 is negative 15 over 5. That's all. The answer is A. Let's go on to the next one, number 8. Number 8. In number 8, we deal with the concept that is also something that I have taught before, which is question number 8, and again it deals with 3, 4, 5 triangle. Just type it in just like this. Just type it in just like this with the hyphen 3, 4, 5 triangle with my name. If you have trouble finding a video of mine with a topic, always put in the name, it will pop right up. Because otherwise there are probably millions of the people doing the same thing as I am. Not probably, there are. So just type in this 3, 4, 5 triangle along with my name, and out come a video that you will see, which is labeled as Geometry for SAT Day 7. And in that day, Geometry for SAT Day 7, we learned this concept of a 3, 4, 5 triangle, which is what we are dealing with here. We have a right angle triangle, we are told. Okay? We have a right angle triangle. It says the legs of the right angle triangle ABC are 3 and 4. What is the perimeter of the right triangle with each side? What is the perimeter of the right triangle with each side twice the length of the corresponding sides in ABC? Oh, for crying out loud, this is too simple. A, B, C, and we are told that this is 3 and 4. If the legs are 3 and 4, hypotenuse has to be 5, which is why it's called 3, 4, 5 triangle. Watch that video, you will get something out of it, because a lot of people know what a 3, 4, 5 triangle in mechanical way, but they do not understand the intuition behind it. What is a 3, 4, 5 triangle? 3, 4, 5 triangle is a freak of nature. Watch the video and find out why. Do you understand? It's a freak of nature. But 3, 4, 5 triangle actually does not appear as a 3, 4, 5 triangle on the real exam most of the time. Most of the time when it does appear, it appears incognito. It appears in disguise. It will appear like this. Instead of 3, it will be 6. Instead of 4, it will be 8. And if this is twice as much and this side is twice as much, that side has to be twice as much. Voila! That's it, that's your triangle. And they're asking you, what is the perimeter of the right triangle with each side twice the length of the corresponding side of the triangle ABC? Well, that's it, we're done. It's 6 plus 8, 6 plus 8 plus 10. That is the perimeter of the triangle that they're talking about. That's 14, carry 1, voila. The answer is 24. The answer is D. The answer is D. That's it, we're done with this one. Number 9. Again, geometry for SAT, day number 7. There are about 60 geometry videos. If you're weak in geometry, you might get something out of it. Not something out of it, but rather something out of them. There are 60 of them. What I meant is that you might get something out of it, as in the series of geometry videos. You see how you wiggle out of situation, you see? That's called, let's learn this. It's called cop out. Ever heard of cop out? Cop out means to be not willing to take responsibility for your mistake, to wiggle out of something. If you don't want to take a responsibility for your mistake, if you don't want to admit your mistake, you cop out, like I just did. I said watch it, I should have said watch them, but then I corrected myself by saying that I was referring to the series, not the videos themselves. Cop out. Did we learn this thing? I'm sure we learned it, cop out. If we didn't, we should have learned it. It's a nice, I'm not sure, it could be a colloquial term. It may not be a very formal term. Anyway, that's what it means. Look up in your dictionary and we'll learn it. Did we ever learn about incognito in our vocabulary lessons? Incognito. Oh, we did learn it. Day number 42. On day number 42 in our vocabulary lesson, just type in vocabulary day 42 and you will find the word incognito. You will find a video in which we learn the word incognito, which means in disguise. Number 9. We are given a table here, and the question simply is, it shows the rental locations for the 5 rental companies. For which of the 5 companies is the ratio of the number of foreign location to the number of US location the greatest? Alright, so here we're given A, B, C, D and E, and here's the US. Okay, so here's our domestic ones, and here's the foreign one. Now listen, the key here is not to waste your time writing out the entire bloody number, because they're not looking for the exact ratio, they just want to know which one is the largest one. So forget the zeros and just type in the 2 digits. Here we have 14, 13, 1000, or 10, or 12, and a 762, I'm going to round it to 800. And then here we have 440, 4000, 3300, 3600, 2300. I'm rounding 2268 to 2300, and then finally 2100. Let's find out the ratios. In A, we have 40 over 14. 40 over 14, 40 over 14, which of course is same as 20 over 7. 20 over 7, 20 over 7, 21 over 7 would have been 3. 21 over 7 would have been 3. This is actually 2 and 6/7. 2 and 6/7, which I'm going to say is approximately equal to 3. Let's look at B. In B we have 33 over 13. 33 over 13 is same as 2, and 2 times 13 is 26. So if you subtract 26 from 33, you get 7. 7 over 13. 6.5 over 13 is half. 6.5 divided by 13 is half. So it's approximately 2.5. Approximately 2.5. It's not very important. This answer is not very important. Why? Because we're looking for the largest ratio. We already found that this is close to 3, which means it doesn't really matter. This is nowhere close to 3. For it to be close to 3, this would have to be close to 39. The top would have to be close to 39, because 13 times 3 is 39. It's 33. It's nowhere close to being 3. It's not in the race. B is not in the race. C is 36 divided by 10. 36 divided by 10, which is 3.6. Since it is 3.6, that means this one is out of the game. D is 23 divided by 12. Right here, 23 divided by 12. We know that 24 divided by 12 is 2. This is less than 2. This is out of the game. Because we already have this guy, which is 3.6. Let's look at E. E is 21 divided by 8, which is less than 3. 21 divided by 3, 24 divided by 3 would have been, 24 divided by 8 would have been 3. 21 divided by 8 is less than 3. It's out of the game. The answer is C. The answer is C. 3.6 is the largest one. I will see you tomorrow. This was a long video, but I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's video is going to be relatively short because there are only two problems on the next page. I go page by page. Do you understand? Tomorrow we'll do number 10 and 11, which are not too bad, and then the following page 547, which is a little bit difficult, and then of course the last two problems, they are, to put it mildly, hellish. Do you understand? No, they are not mildly hellish. To put it mildly, they are hellish, the last two problems. Do you understand? I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.